Sir David Amess.
My honourable friend, the member for Gainsborough, on his speech and the way he introduced the subject, because I think he was entirely right to centre on the overall objective of fairness in this debate, and I think the whole tone has been excellent in every respect. I went to St Bonaventure's Grammar School in the East End of London, the London Borough of Newham, which for a time had as its headmaster the current Chief Inspector of Schools, Sir Michael Wiltshire. I'm also very pleased to have noted during the debate that there have been 3 colleagues present who all contributed to the pamphlet Working Class Conservative Members of Parliament, which I think says everything in terms of the way colleagues see grammar schools as a focus for opportunity. Now, the grammar schools that we have in Southend are Westcliff High School for girls, Westcliff High School for boys, Southend High School for girls, Southend High School for boys. I'm delighted to tell the House that those schools have produced a number of members of Parliament. I'm not so pleased to tell the House that they have actually produced more Labour members of Parliament than Conservative members of Parliament. And a number of those have now gone to the House of Lords, but my honourable friend, the member for Wellingborough, did go to one of our excellent local grammar schools. And at the moment, we have, just to mention a few of the achievements, 4 pupils from the Westcliff High School for Boys competed in the UK Bebrus Computational Thinking Challenge, a national competition sponsored by Oxford University and ARM. They will appear in the Bebrus Hall of Fame for 2014. And recently, Southend High School for Boys and Southend High School for Girls qualified to represent England at the World School Athletics Championship in China of June this year. But to go back to the remarks of my honourable friend, this debate is very much about fairness, because the idea that any political party is going to abolish grammar schools is a matter for the fairies, frankly. I think that argument is over, whilst I do have my own views on grammar schools, thinking about what the present Home Secretary, when she was Shadow Secretary of State for Education, had in mind, expanding the number of grammar schools. I think it's a shame that my party banned that policy, but I will not revisit that argument. But it is entirely a matter of unfairness regarding funding per pupil. The head teachers of my local grammar schools, now we have with us an excellent minister who I have the highest regard for, and he visited a number of schools in the constituency that I represent. I've already had meetings with the heads of the grammar schools in Southend, and the gentleman whose name I forgot, who is in charge of the funding for these schools, came and attended the meeting. Very, very positive. I've now been waiting 6 weeks to hear what the outcome of that meeting is. I do say very gently to my honourable friend, the Minister, I think officials do need to be G'd up as far as this matter is concerned. The House will rise at the end of March. The Member of Parliament for Southend West will not wait till the end of March until he has a firm assurance that the 4 grammar schools in Southend are going to get fairness in terms of funding. Because Southend High School for Boys deprivation rate is 5%, and yet we get £4,503 per pupil. Southend High School for Girls deprivation rate 6%, we get £4,540 per pupil. Westcliff High School for Boys deprivation rate 5%, we get £4,503 per pupil. Westcliff High School for Girls deprivation rate 4%, and we get £4,449 per pupil. These are among the lowest funding figures in Essex, which is an absolute disgrace in both absolute and relative terms. Someone...
Thank you. Just my honourable friend agree with me. It is absolutely illogical to have a post-16 funding system which actually penalises the very schools that are producing the STEM subject results that we so desperately need. And that is clearly one of the driving issues through this debate.
I absolutely agree with my honourable friend, and the funding for our 4 grammar schools in Southend is totally unfair when you compare it to others in Essex. Another indicator is free school meals. The 4 grammar schools in my constituency have between 1.4% and 2.2% of pupils eligible for free school meals. Colchester County High School for Girls, on the other hand, has only 1.3% of pupils eligible for free school meals and has a record low deprivation rate of 1%. Still, the Colchester Grammar School actually gets a lot more money, £450 per pupil, than my local schools. Head teachers have raised concerns regarding the 10% reduction to their budgets between 2012 and 2017. Obviously, these reductions are understandable in the case of services that fail to manage their budgets efficiently, but that is not the case of the 4 grammar schools in Southend, who do an absolutely excellent job of managing their grammar schools. Importantly, the government has announced that those studying 4 A-levels will receive about £400 each year more, and that those studying 5 or more A-levels will receive around £800 more. How these amounts have been calculated, I just cannot understand. It costs around £1,000 per student for each A-level that is successfully completed. Again, I say to my honourable friend the Minister, we want fairness. Supporting underperforming schools in disadvantaged areas is obviously commendable. However, it cannot be achieved at the expense of grammar schools. Grammar schools are some of the best performing schools in England, and the government should do its utmost to invest our young talented people who want to work hard and take up extra A-level subjects. Their aspirations need to be backed by sufficient funding, which needs to be calculated appropriately in collaboration with education and professionals, rather than being pulled out of thin air, as seems to be the case at the moment.
Yeah.